Hey guys, Sky here, and this is my love story to the Subaru XV. Symmetrical all-wheel drive, GT edition with eyesight. Ignore the dent that was not done by me. And over to the front we can see the lip is also broken. This is also not done by me. Neat little detail, even with the car doors not unlocked. So as you can see, the mirror is rolled back. This means the car is locked. But once the proximity sensor detected the key fob being nearby, it will still light up the cabin lights. Let's start up the car. Foot on the brakes. Push the start button, and the car starts. Subaru. Set it back to my preset driving position. This is the view from the cockpit. Nothing fancy, yes. It's got two analog speedometer and then one center TFT screen that shows you several different information. This is the duration of the engine start and also the kilometer driven. This is your speed of the car. This is the main screen and menu. This is your average fuel consumption. Fun fact, this is the fuel consumption that I got after traveling up to Genting Highlands and coming back to Cheras. And we are reverting back to, the previous screens. Let me just... So the odometer here shows the condition of the car as I picked it up for the trip. When I picked it up on the clock, it shows 48,000, high 48,000 kilometer on the clock. I have done 330 kilometer on this trip, as evident by the trip. We can't really see the B, but it's indicating B there. This is a trip B. So trip B is the mileage that I clock in whilst having the car for about 3 days, 3+ days. So I've only done 330 kilometers. I filled it to full tank. Full tank takes about 60 liters. Funnily enough, 112 ringgit. I think I filled after the subsidy is 112 ringgit, and it's left with slightly less than half a tank now. I think one thing that they have improved a lot is the brightness of this infotainment screen. I think previously, the previous generation XV, a lot of the issues revolve around the infotainment screen not being bright enough, etc, etc. Now, whole day use, even under direct sunlight, there's no issues here. This thing remains very much visible, and the top screen is also a great addition. It allows you to see a few different things. For instance, this is the fuel consumption meter chart, and then we have the clock. But for some reason the clock is not accurate. We have, this is the sort of home screen. We have a very interesting screen here which shows you the condition of the car. So if I press brake, then you can see the brake lights up. If I turn on the indicator, you can see that the indicator also lights up, and for the other side as well. This is a screen that shows the condition of the car. As you are probably going off-road, it shows you the all-wheel drive running, but of course now I'm not driving the car yet, so the illustration is not doing anything. And then if you are going uphill, it will show you the angle of the uphill and the downhill as well. And this is typically the screen that I leave the car in. So the water temperature, it shows you the water temperature, oil temperature, and also, interestingly enough, the percentage of accelerator that you are pressing at any given moment. So if I were to give it a ref, yes, you can see it goes 10%. And then it comes back to this. This is the first screen that I showed you, the fuel consumption screen.
Hey guys, Future Sky here. So the video survived, but the audio of the recording somehow got corrupted. Therefore, I am adding the audio post the video recording just to share with you my thoughts after the test drive. So last weekend we had a trip with my in-laws up to a particularly famous mountain, the infamous Malaysian Toge route that leads to a mountain. And I thought to myself, well, I might as well take this opportunity to actually rent a particular car that is on my radar for a while. If you guys don't know, the last year I sold my Honda City because it no longer fits my use case. I have to ferry my parents, my aging parents with weak knees. So yeah, sedan doesn't really gel well. So I'm exploring my options in the SUV market, and yeah, the Subaru XV is very lucrative to me because of the low price point. I mean, we're looking at 2022 model Subaru XV. They are probably going to net you around about 80 to 90k ringgit Malaysia here in Malaysia. And with that sort of a same price point, I am also looking at a Mazda CX-5, be it the 2-liter or the 2.5-liter engine model. So that one, the same sort of price point will get you around a 2019, 2020 year car. So it's definitely a bit more aged if you consider the two options. But of course, some would say that CX-5 is a C segment SUV and a Subaru XV is actually a B segment SUV or B plus segment SUV, depending on how you look at it. But basically, that's how I present my options, how I have my options. It's based on the budget because, of course, that is the biggest constraint. So, and as I was scrolling through the Trevo platform, a platform which allows you to host your own car for rent, so that other people get to drive your car, I came across a Subaru XV, and apparently it was hosted by Subaru's own service center located in Kepong. You can check it out if you are interested. So I thought to myself, yeah, it's a drive up a mountain. We get to test the dynamics of the car. We get to test the power, whether it's sufficient or insufficient, or what's the power status like. And I jumped at that idea, so I booked the car one day before the trip, and then I will return the car one day after the trip. So it gave me plenty of time, about 3 to 4 days, to fully experience the car, bring it through multiple different routes that I am very familiar with, just to see how it fares. So for your information, my current car is actually my wife's car, which is the Perodua Ativa, the 1-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. So I am very keen to sort of experience the power difference between the turbocharged Ativa versus the naturally aspirated Subaru XV. I will loosely break my semi-review, sort of like a review, into several different sections. So we will talk about, definitely the elephant in the room would be the power figures, how it performs in terms of the power, and then we can move on to the ride and handling, and then of course maintenance cost is a big one that we have to also touch about. And then we can sort of summarize everything, jumping into a section where I will share what I like about the car and what I dislike about the car. But first, I think it's important for us to address one particular issue. If you are in the market and you are looking to purchase a car, whether be it new or used, I think we can all agree that that short test drive session is bloody useless, if you ask me. Because when you are test driving the car, there's a lot of new information that you have to perceive. It's an unfamiliar route. You have a salesman sitting beside you, directing you where to go. It's a new car, and you don't want to scratch it, or you don't want to get involved in an accident, so you will pay extra caution to your surroundings. And so as you are driving the car, you are actually, your focus is not so much placed upon experiencing the car and also what the car can bring to you. It's more so you are distracted with instructions from the salesman, you are distracted with the route, you are distracted with traffic, and so you sort of forget to experience the car. And coupled with the fact that, most of these test drive sessions, they are very, very short, probably 10-20 minutes. Yeah, I get it. Petrol price is quite expensive nowadays. And so it does you no good. So I suppose the idea here is because there are platforms like Trevo, which we can then leverage to rent out the car. Yeah, sure, it requires some monetary commitment coming from you to rent a car for a particular number of days. But yeah, you get to then bring the car over to multiple different situations in order for you to properly test the suspension. How does it feel when it's riding, undulations, uneven road surfaces? How it feels when you put the car and the engine and the powertrain through your family's use case. Because let's face it, different people will have different use cases. Some people will say the Subaru XV's 2-liter engine is underpowered. Some people will say it's sufficient. Some people will say it's more than enough. So it depends on what's your use case, like, the size of your family, the size of your luggage, yada, yada, yada. So all of these factors, it is best for you to experience the car if you just, rent the car out for a couple of days, drive it through your usual route, and then you get to compare, the baseline would be your current car, how it performs, and then, you can jump into the target car and then you can experience the NVH, you can experience the ride. Yeah, I believe that is a better idea if you are in the market to buy a car for yourself. The kicker here is that the Trevo platform does not have all the car models on offer. So for my use case, as I've mentioned, I'm comparing the XV against the Mazda CX-5, and unfortunately, I am not able to find a CX-5 host willing to rent out their cars, so I don't get that opportunity with a CX-5. It's fine, I think it's fine. So over the weekend, our route plan goes something like this. We disembark from my condo in Cheras. We head towards my in-laws' place in Serinda. We picked up the in-laws, and then we drove through the scenic route up to Genting Highlands. So through the Batang Kali route, the B roads all the way up to around Gotong Jaya area, the foothills of Genting Highland, and we have an Airbnb there, so we settled down there. And then the next day, we drove all the way to the peak, so Genting's peak. So the first agenda on this semi-review is definitely the power aspect, right? Like I've mentioned, there are a lot of people who have driven the car, whether test drive or I don't suppose they own the car. But yeah, there are people who have driven the car, test drove the car, and then, compared it to a turbocharged car and say, oh, Subaru XV is underpowered. It does not feel underpowered to me. For context, yes, my wife is driving an Ativa, which is our current daily driver. We share the car because I don't need to use the car every day. Previously, I owned a Honda City, a GN2 City, 1.5 liter naturally aspirated inline 4. So I am very familiar with the characteristics of a naturally aspirated engine. I am very familiar with how you should drive a naturally aspirated engine. And also, the GN2 City is also driven using a CVT transmission. So I have had some experience with CVT transmissions. Of course, it's just from one, actually from two, because Ativa is also driven using a CVT gear. So we have had some experience in terms of naturally aspirated engine and CVT transmission. So let me tell you that Subaru XV's 2-liter naturally aspirated engine is by no means underpowered. In fact, I would also go so far as to say that I disagree with a lot of YouTube reviewers who are saying it is sufficient for most people's use cases. It is definitely not just sufficient, it has extra power. So, what I mean by that is everybody, when they are driving, they will have their comfort range, right? The speed at which they drive comfortably, ferrying their families or, running errands, using the car for what it is, transporting you from point A to point B. In those ranges, Subaru XV not only excels, but it's got at least an extra 20% on top of that range. Then you hit the Subaru XV's top line. The top line power that is offered by Subaru XV. So for you to say that Subaru XV is sufficient, it means your driving range is pushed very much to the top line, which for my personal case, it is not the situation at all. So my driving range, for me to ferry my families comfortably, there is at least an extra 30% power that is available from the Subaru XV's 2-liter boxer engine. There are still additional extra nearing the top line that I will not be able to use. Well, because I'm ferrying my family. So you want to do your driving in a way that to ensure the maximum safety of your family. You are not going to be putting the pedal to the metal. I am finding in most situations on the B road leading up to the foothills of Genting, the Gotong Jaya, I am applying mostly 40 to 50% accelerator pedal, and it is sufficient for me to, deal with all the situations that the B road has to offer. Even on the hill climb to Genting Highlands peak, I at best push to about 70% because Subaru has a mini dashboard screen to show you the percentage of your accelerator pedal, and that's also sort of what I've been using to monitor the driving and also the power aspect. So it is by no means sufficient. I think it is powerful enough to cover most of your use case. And bear in mind, I am not driving an empty car. I am driving a car with 5 adults, 1 baby, and I have luggage. So it's overnight luggage, but it's still some luggage in the car, which, fun fact, it already filled fully the boot space available from Subaru XV, but more on that later. So for those of you who are pampered by the turbocharged engine, you probably test drove something from China, some products from China, the Jayco J7, Omoda C5 or Omoda C9. Jumping into a naturally aspirated engine, you may feel compelled to say that it is underpowered, but get this, naturally aspirated engine, their peak power comes at 4,000 RPM. So before you say that the engine is underpowered, please do experience the car to 4,000 RPM. I don't believe, in your short 10-20 minutes experience of the car, you would have revved the engine to 4,000 RPM. And it's a bit unfair for me to put it like this because I feel that below 4,000 RPM, the low to mid-end torque that the engine has to offer is also sufficient. It's in fact more than sufficient to carry through most people's use cases. So if you are seriously considering Subaru XV, go on Trevo, rent it even for 1 day or 2 days. I believe the daily rate is about $230, and then you have to add on some insurance on top of that, and rent it out, drive it through your routes, and get a good feel of the car without the salesperson sitting beside you directing you where to go, without the fear of scratching the car and crashing into another person's car. That's the proper way that you get to experience the engine. Then if you feel it is still underpowered, you can move on to your other options. Trevo also has some Chinese cars available for rent. For example, I've seen the Tigo 8 Pro. You can also rent that just to check whether it fits your use case or not. So that's, yeah, a very big rant on power. To summarize, I do believe the XV's power is more than enough for my use case. Even if I have to overtake a car in the B roads, I have the sufficient confidence that it will be able to carry me safely through the navigation of the B roads. Ride and handling is something I believe, those who have tested Subaru cars, you would agree that it is the most the best selling point Subaru has to offer, a Subaru model has to offer. Let me put it this way. Throughout the entire drive, not just uphill towards the peak of Genting Highlands, but I brought it through my usual daily drives, the routes, sending my son to kindergarten, going out for dinner with my parents. Yeah, I took it out for various different situations, and all the time as I'm driving the car, it just reminds me of the feeling of driving a sedan. It does not feel like an SUV at all. Multiple different points, I believe, lead into this conclusion. Number one, definitely the boxer configuration of the engine generates or creates a very, very good example of low center of gravity. As you chuck the car into corner, the word that comes into mind is no frills. It's a drama-free drive. It just goes. The car obediently follows instructions received from your steering wheel. So all in all, as I'm driving the car, I do be reminded of the driving of the Honda City. Even better, in fact, even better than the driving of the Honda City. It's just the car handles and feels so much like a sedan. It's not like an Ativa. And to aid further this conclusion, I believe the seating position, and more specifically the adjustability of the steering wheel, of the seat themselves, contributes a significantly great deal. I mean, anybody who has experienced any form of Subaru models would agree on this. The adjustability of the steering and the seats of any Subaru cars is actually covers a very, very large range. It's even larger than some of the Japanese models out there, your Hondas and your Toyotas. So I was able to really sit low down on the car, and I can bring the steering wheel closer to my body, and I was able to get a very snug drive. Sure, the seats are not the best in terms of bolstering you, your left and right movement, but yeah, that's a small quill. But overall, yeah, the seating also creates a very good illusion that you are driving a sedan as opposed to driving an XV. And for sure, the double wishbone suspension does wonders to add on to that handling like a sedan kind of thing. The overall car just feels calm, very cool, very collected, even when you are driving fast. So the section from Serenda on Rawang Bypass heading towards Kapung, yeah, there is a hilly section. At night, it's low visibility, not a lot of street lights. Yeah, that section I managed to push a little bit, and the car still responds with no drama, no frills. It just gives you what you want, no questions asked. I believe if you are really serious in considering Subaru XV, one of the main factor that will drive you away towards a different model is probably the maintenance cost. I know there's a lot of comments out there saying how Subaru XV's maintenance costs are very high, exceptionally high, higher than your usual Japanese brands, Honda, Toyota. I don't think it is fair for you to compare between Subaru and Toyota and Honda. I mean, if you look at Honda, their tagline is value. So you buy a Honda because you want the absolute maximum value, biggest space, biggest boot, cheapest maintenance, and then high resale value. Value being the keyword of why you purchased a Honda. For Toyota, it's reliability. For Subaru, it's safety, ride, and handling. And when you want those things, when you want the ride and handling to be good, you will be paying for that Boxer configuration. And along with the Boxer configuration, some of the things have to be moved, in areas that are not so easily accessible. And so naturally, the maintenance cost of those things will go up. Just to share the results of my personal research, if you are doing a normal servicing with the engine oil, it's about 5 to 600 ringgit. If you are doing a major service, it probably goes about 1.5 to 1.7k. If you do a major service at the service center, it will exceed 2,000. So yeah, part of that cost is also changing the spark plug. That takes a little bit more in terms of labor and man hours. Just because where the spark plug is located, the Boxer engine's configuration is the main culprit there. Another bomb, I believe many of you would have researched, is the cost of the replacing the cooling coils or the aircon condenser. Something to do with the aircon services. Yeah, it involves detaching the entire dashboard to get to the aircon system, and yeah, that costs about 1.5k, 1.7k, depending on where you are doing that maintenance. So these are things that you have to be prepared to experience if you want Subaru XV. So it is sort of a trade-off for the safety that is offered by the eyesight, the ride and handling that is offered by the entire package of Subaru being a Subaru, of the symmetrical all-wheel drive. The last section sort of summarizes what I like versus what I don't like on the Subaru XV. So I've alluded to this several times throughout this video. Subaru XV, what really attracted me is just the ride and handling. Not just the fact that it drives like a sedan, but also just how composed the suspension is at handling undulations, at handling uneven roads and potholes. For context, I've test drove a few CX-5s, Mazda CX-5 2.5 liter version, and every time you go through bumps on the CX-5, you get a sense of hollow sensation somewhere in the suspension component, just a very hollow torque. That sort of sound. It's a bit difficult to describe using words, but yeah, it's a very hollow torquing sound as the suspension rides through the undulations. But whenever I'm driving the Subaru XV, I don't get that same sensation at all. I feel a solid ride. Yeah, every time I'm describing the ride and handling of Subaru XV, I always revert back to these few words. No frills, no drama. It's very calm, very cool, very collected, sort of an underbody chassis performance that you don't get on other models at all. Trust me, if you really want to experience this, schedule a Subaru XV test drive and then a Honda HR-V test drive on the same day, back to back. You will feel that the HR-V is flimsy, is ready to disintegrate at all times. I am not kidding you. Go test it out. What else I like about the Subaru XV? Well, yeah, power-wise, I think it is definitely more powerful than the Perodua Ativa that my wife drives. On paper, it already says, yeah, Subaru XV has 154 horsepower, Perodua Ativa only has 100 horsepower, 196 newton meters of torque versus 138 newton meters of torque. Yeah, that's fine. But I think what also contributes to this pleasant driving experience is the performance of the Lineartronic CVT. In fact, the simulated gears on the Lineartronic CVT is significantly better than even the Honda CVT. The simulated gears actually does remind me a little bit of the gearbox that I've experienced on a Mazda CX-5. It is to that level. Sure, it's a bit slower compared to the CX-5 680, but yeah, the simulated gears do make it feel like it's an automatic gearbox and not a CVT. What else I like about Subaru XV? Well, the fit and finish is decent. For context, the unit that I rented was a 2022 model, so 3-year old, but nothing rocks, no rattles. The dashboard is all properly in place, properly secured. I shake things around, I move things around, I push things around in the dashboard. Nothing gives. There's no gap, there's no everything is fitted very, very nicely, very solidly. It feels like a well-built car. Moving on to the things that I don't like. Well, for starters, space. Subaru XV is not a very big car. The cabin space is decent to ferry your family, but of course it's not CX-5 level or even, let alone CRV level. It's not even, bigger than a CX-5, and CX-5 is the smallest amongst the C segment. But sure, we are comparing B plus to C segment. But I think if you look at HRV also will be, the clear winner in terms of space. Boot space is the same thing. 345 liters, I think, is similar values compared to an Ativa. Yes, Ativa is an A segment. Subaru XV is a B segment sedan, but they have the same in terms of boot space. But boot space, I think, it's 50-50. If you need storage, there's always a top rack solution to expand on the storage. You have to be smart with your storage. If you are somebody who's looking to buy a car and then, chuck all your luggage in the boot space and forget about it, then perhaps Subaru XV is not for you. Subaru XV is for the person who will plan their holiday trips, install the top rack, and then leverage their space readily available to them, organize properly how to put their luggages, which one to put on top, which one to put at the back, that sort of a person. But other than that, yeah, I do believe that there's not much that I don't like about the Subaru XV. Again, this is all very personal because it is my personal experience. Like I said, if you are considering Subaru XV, you should most definitely leverage the car being offered on Trevo. The car is offered by Subaru Kepong, so rest assured it is properly maintained. The engine and the gearbox is extremely smooth. Do go check them out. And that's it. I believe I've covered everything I wanted to cover. I don't yet know the future of this channel. We will take it as we go. And until I see you, this is Sky signing off. Bye-bye.